Hello everybody and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle. I've got kind of a special little bonus episode today that I wanted to film really quickly. This probably will be kind of shorter, I would imagine, but we'll see where I go with it. But basically I just wanted to give a review of the experience of Morsefest this past weekend. Of course, everyone who watches this channel knows I'm a huge Neal Morse fanatic. I talk about him constantly. I love Neal Morse Band. I think they're one of the best, if not the best band currently running. I think they're so amazing. They just came out with their new album, Innocence in Danger. Not too long ago, I did a review of it that, I showcased my love for it, and I really am a huge fan of the album. And this was an experience for them to basically play almost the entire album over the course of 2 nights. So really excited to dive into it. The plan was to go to Seattle this week to be able to experience this show. They were going to do a tour and several tour dates once they completed the Morsefest, but of course that was postponed, so won't be able to go there. But I thought instead I could kind of give my impressions and thoughts of Morsefest and how I felt it went, and just kind of the experience in general that I had, at least as I watched it. And now I did a virtual ticket, so I did not attend in person. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be able to experience it virtually. It was a really cool thing to be able to log in and be able to stream it live. And I think they did an incredible job with it. I'm sure it's a big task to take on having to stream for hundreds of people and the logistics of that and getting it to sound good and look good, the picture and the audio, and just considering all the logistics and the trouble of that, I think it just went off without a hitch. So I was really grateful for the tech team and all of that involved in the experience. And I believe what happened is live, they performed the concert several hours before they actually streamed it live, so that they could take the video and audio and kind of make sure that it was all working correctly and, edit out anything that would need it before streaming it live to everyone else who had virtual tickets. So kind of a cool thing that they did there to kind of accommodate people coming in virtually. They did it last year for Morsefest as well, and I of course did the same thing last year when they did Sola Gratia was kind of the main show, the newest Neal Morse album that came out last year. And that was an incredible show. I really loved that one as well. It kind of brought that album to life for me and was such an incredible experience. So many incredible things about it. But I'm here to talk about this year's Morsefest, which I watched it kind of as it was streaming live on Friday night, the first night, which was the Innocence night. So they decided, much like the album is split into 2 discs, the first disc is the Innocence night with Innocence side with all of the different shorter poppier songs. And then the second disc is Danger, which was the second night of the concert, which features more of the epics and is kind of just the big full-on prog show. So the first night was the Innocence night, and they played pretty much the entire first disc of Innocence in Danger. The only thing they didn't really cover was Emergence, the little acoustic guitar piece that Neal does on the new album. But beyond that, all of the songs were here, and they played them almost in order, an album order basically. So it was kind of cool, and they interspersed kind of interesting little unexpected things in between the runtime of the album. So that was a cool structure, and I really thought it was neat. A great chance to get to hear the new album performed by the band. And I do think, this was the first night. I think the sound wasn't quite dialed in at first, and, maybe that was partly the stream and kind of needing some correction with the audio. But as the night went on, that, corrected itself. They seemed to get more comfortable on stage, and it just really came together. And by the end of it, I was just cheering and loving the experience. So, it was just really awesome to see them because, there's not many live shows right now. So to get to experience a true live show, even if it is virtually, it is still an exciting experience to see these guys live because they're all incredible players and they're just, all stars at their instruments. And it was just really cool to see them. So this first night was just really some great highlights. I loved they performed Revelation from the album 5, Spock's Beard album. And that was a highlight for me. I would have never expected them to play Revelation. It's kind of a more obscure pick from the Spockspirit discography, but they pulled out like this Fender Rhodes that just sounded so great on the track, and they were just really rocking, and that was one of my favorite moments. I really loved The Way It Used to Be from the new album. It's kind of a Pink Floyd type song, and I think it just really worked well in this setting. And Eric Gillette was just a real star really this whole night, and he sounded so great on this. He sings it and has a lot of feature on the guitar, that Gilmour-esque guitar, and he just nailed it perfectly. And they even went into a little bit of a cover of Pink Floyd's Breathe from Dark Side of the Moon at the end of it, so I thought that was a neat little touch. And then that kind of went straight into this kind of acoustic section where they played these more acoustic Neal Morse songs and it was fantastic. They all kind of came towards the front of the stage. They were playing kind of the more acoustic instruments and a little bit more of an intimate kind of vibe. And that was certainly a highlight as well of this night. They went through Not Afraid Part 1, Waterfall, The Way Home from Lifeline, Distance to the Sun, another Spockspirit classic. And then after that section was kind of finished, they kind of closed it out with Bridge Over Troubled Water, a big prog cover of that classic song that closes out the first disc of Innocence and Danger. Kind of perfect. And then even, that was enough. It's a great epic closer, and they did a great job with it, and it really brought the house down. They went into this kind of medley of Similitude of a Dream and Great Adventure songs as their encore to kind of end the night, and went through quite a great selection of songs from those kind of the big singles and the big tracks, ending with The Love That Never Dies, kind of the big conclusion of the Great Adventure. So really an incredible night of show. It was just really fun to experience it. I really kind of made an evening of it, and my wife kind of ducked in and out. Jana, she appreciated a lot of it. She was there for quite a bit of it and was really enjoying it as well. But, it was just a fun thing to just be able to be at home, put it on my kind of big screen TV and connect it to the big speakers and just experience it. It's kind of a perfect way for someone like me. I've talked pretty openly on the channel about my anxieties and social issues that I have with being in big groups and crowds and things. So this is kind of a nice way to experience a concert for me. And I recognize that there's really no substitute for being there and feeling the energy live, but this is about as good as it gets without actually being there in that energy. But I felt it coming through the TV screen, at least from my perspective. So just a really beautiful night of music. Then the next morning I watched the Inner Circle concert that they did. Neal always does kind of this more laid back, shorter morning concert on the Saturday morning. And so I was able to experience this live as it was happening. They played a set of songs from Neal's first two solo albums, more of a singer-songwriter-y vibe than prog, his self-titled Neal Morse album, and then It's Not Too Late, and played a great selection of songs, and it was just a fun, laid-back vibe, and Neal was kind of being fun and just telling stories behind the songs and how they were written and how they came about, and did a couple of interesting covers in between certain things just to be fun. And he has a song called Oh Angie, and he's just sang a little bit of Rolling Stones Angie. It's just he does these little fun things, and kind of ended with the Wind and the Rain, a fantastic track from It's Not Too Late, going into Rocket Man by Elton John. So just a really fun, breezy kind of concert. I think it's perfect for what that's meant to be. And I really had a blast being able to sit back and watch it. Now, when it came to the Danger night, this was where things went a little haywire with my schedule. I had planned to watch it live, much like the first night, but it just wasn't in the cards for me because we had kind of a family emergency of sorts. We ended up kind of having to take care of my niece very last minute, and we didn't want to blast loud music while we were watching this young kid, and so it didn't make sense. We watched Disney Channel stuff for her instead, and I decided it'd be better to kind of wait till the next night to really experience the concert, because I knew it was going to be a special one full of big epics, and I didn't want didn't want to do it in a way that it wouldn't be its full experience, because I thought I could pull out my laptop, put in headphones and watch it that way, but I wanted to see it on the big screen, and I wanted to blast it from my speakers and have that full kind of experience. And I'm glad I did, because I waited till the next night and did the replay, which is a fantastic thing that they do. Is they realize that people watching virtually are all over the world, so they have different timetables and different schedules and in different time zones, so they allow people to kind of stream it later. They have kind of a window where you can still catch the show, so that's a really nice feature. So I was able to take advantage of that and watch the Danger Night in full on Sunday night. And boy, was that an experience. It's a huge show. I warned my wife in advance. I'm like, I know this is going to be like really intense and a lot of big songs. And if you've seen our Jana Reacts videos, my wife sometimes struggles with longer epics, and she kind of loses her attention and stuff. So she was doing other things around the house and stuff while things were playing, but catching moments here and there. But I was just totally enraptured by the whole experience. It sounded wonderful. They had fixed whatever sound issues might have been there on that first night, and it sounded absolutely incredible. They were on fire throughout the night. They started with Not Afraid Part 2, kind of the big epic that starts the second disc of Innocence and Danger. It sounded just perfect to me. I thought they did an incredible job, and it was a great little opener. Separated Man was a surprise from the one album. I didn't think they'd go into that one, but it was really cool. It's one of my favorite kind of old school Neal Morse solo epics. And so it was fun to see it here, and I think they did it well. They did it on the first Morsefest, where they played the entire one album, and it was incredible there as well. But this was really good too. And then they went into Flow from Spock's Beard, totally unexpected, but anything from Spock's Beard, and I'm very happy, because that's like my favorite music and brings me back to really discovering this newer progressive rock back in those days. So that was a real treat to see Flow in the set list, and I believe it was Neal's choice to insert that one in. I think Mike Portnoy, I saw on a forum somewhere that he had actually had a different Spock's Beard choice, and Neal Morse kind of decided to do this instead, and it ended up being just such a blast. I think Mike Portnoy, if I remember right, wanted to do Time Has Come from Beware of Darkness, which would have been fun as well. But I think this was the perfect choice. It really fit in the show really well here. And then that moved into their new epic. Not their new epic. First they did World Without End from Momentum. To me, this was a total highlight of the show. This, to me, was probably the best experience of the whole concert, and I didn't expect that, because I don't know if this is even one that I thought of as one of my favorite Neal Morse epics, but they just played it so perfectly. Like, every note was in place, no one messed up or did anything weird or wonky. It was powerful, had an emotional element to it. Neal Morse was in tears, kind of singing towards the end, had this epic instrumental section that just, the band went off and just did it perfectly. All this intricate music. It was powerful. It was fun. Neal Morse even kind of dressed up a little bit during the middle of it in this kind of get up to kind of, showcase the different elements of the song. So I just thought it was really cool. They really put everything into it, and everyone was on fire, and I thought it was just an incredible performance. So that one really, really was the best for me of everything. But they didn't stop there. They went into Beyond the Years, which is the big epic from their new album that closes out that second disc of Innocence and Danger. I've gone on record saying it's one of my favorite Neal Morse epics. It's still new to me, so I'm still trying to fit it into where it belongs in kind of his pantheon of best epics, but it's a really strong one. It goes through so many different movements and has so many different elements of all these different influences of bands that they really sound like, and have, it's just a great melting pot and stew of different things. And they did it all so well. This really came together well. Something I should highlight, throughout this whole night, there was this string quartet. And what's really great about Morsefest is they're able to really increase this scale of this music. When they go on tour, it's really just the core 5 band members. But when they do this big show of Morsefest, they can add in a string quartet. They can add in a percussionist. They can add in, vocalists to kind of beef up the vocals and give this choir effect. And they did that so well on the Danger Night. It was just every track, the string quartet was like such a feature and was really furiously playing all of these intricate prog songs. And Beyond the Years opens with a great kind of orchestrated section that they played well and closes out with that same orchestrated section. So really gave a chance for that string quartet to shine, and they did not disappoint. They were fantastic. And then they came back for an encore. I don't know if it was an encore or just kind of they closed the show with this. Maybe it wasn't technically an encore, but they closed the show with Alive Again, the big epic from the first Neal Morse Band album, The Grand Experiment. So really incredibly played too. And in the middle of this, and during one of the bigger, crazier instrumental sections, they all jumped around and played each other's instruments, and just like, really was fascinating to see, Eric Gillette jump on the drums, to see Bill Hubauer jump on guitar and do a solo. Neal Morse was on drums at one point. Mike Portnoy was on bass playing that. It was a sight to behold. And they had Randy George do kind of this guitar solo and keyboards at the same time. It was wild to see how multi-talented these guys are. They can play all the instruments, they can switch around and do so much, and it just adds to the fun of it, and it's just a fun thing that they can do. And Jana was quite impressed watching all of that, them switching instruments and so forth, and then it all came together in an epic closing. So just a really fun concert, a great experience. It was unfortunate I had to delay it by a night, but I think it worked out to my advantage because I didn't have to worry about like buffering and streaming issues. I was able to just watch it after it had all been streamed and was kind of just ready to go. And it sounded fantastic. And I was really impressed with the technical aspects, with the band. Every band member had different moments where they were shining. I think that's really the mark of a great concert, when every band member gets a spotlight and gets a chance to shine, and they just played their hearts out. And what's amazing about it is they came together just to do this concert and doing a lot of new material that they had never played before. And so to do this as a first experience, to playing this material, but with such high stakes and with like so many people watching and making it kind of this big event and festival, that's the first way you're going to play these intricate, complex prog songs. It's really bold, but they do it expertly. They're such pros that they can do whatever, and it just blows me away. And it blows me away that these guys are doing a lot of this with no, sheet music. No, they know this stuff off the top of their head, and, maybe they'll flub here and there very minorly, but by and large, they're just right on the pocket and just really great. And Mike Portnoy is just the backbeat to it all. And he's like, never makes a mistake. He just knows everything. He's like an encyclopedia. He could play like almost any song he's ever played on just instantly from memory. And it's just, he's a master of his trade, And so anyways, I've gushed enough. I think it was a fun experience. I hope some of you watching maybe saw it as well. And if not, hopefully you'll experience a future concert from them, because it's really a cool experience. So hopefully you enjoyed this show. I just wanted to come on and give a little bit of a review of that experience, since it was a pretty notable musical experience that I had over this past weekend. So thank you guys so much for watching this content. Thank you guys for all your support. It means a lot to me. And please subscribe if you like what I'm doing here. I talk all kinds of new prog, old prog, classics, album reviews, new music, and reactions with my wife. I do a lot of stuff here, and so hopefully for most music fans, I think you could find something fun to enjoy. So thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye.